Welcome to Accreditation Unlocked, the podcast where we explore the strategies, systems, and stories that drive quality and continuous improvement in higher education. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Clough, the founder of the Accreditation Collaborative and someone who's spent a career helping institutions turn compliance into culture and planning into action. In this episode, we're exploring something that often sits at the intersection of two very different conversations: accreditation and human resources. If you've ever felt like your accreditation office and your HR department are not fully aligned, you're not alone. One focuses on institutional goals, outcomes, evidence, while the other focuses on people, performance, and professional growth. But what if we connected the two worlds? What if every performance conversation, every goal-setting session, became an opportunity to reinforce your institution's mission, strategic plan, and accreditation standards? That's what today's episode is all about: aligning individual goals with institutional effectiveness so that every person in every role understands how their daily work contributes to continuous improvement. Why accreditation and HR belong together. Let's start with a simple truth. Accreditation isn't just about compliance. It's about culture. And culture lives in people, in their daily habits, their priorities, and their understanding of why work matters. Accreditation frameworks, regardless of whether you're a college, a technical institute, or professional school, all emphasize three recurring themes: mission alignment, assessment, and improvement. Those aren't abstract ideas. They depend on individuals doing the right work in the right way for the right reasons. Meanwhile, human resources focuses on clarity, accountability, and growth, the same ingredients that make accreditation successful. HR and accreditation actually share a common language: expectations, evidence, and improvement. But in many institutions, they rarely collaborate. HR runs annual performance reviews. Accreditation teams write self-studies. Both collect evidence, yet those systems don't always talk to each other. That disconnect is a lost opportunity. Imagine if every employee's goals were written in the same language as your strategic plan. Imagine if performance appraisals contributed directly to your institutional effectiveness reports. That's when culture begins to change. When every staff member understands how their work supports accreditation outcomes like student success, quality teaching, operational efficiency, or ethical leadership. When HR and accreditation come together, performance reviews become more than a formality. They become annual reflections on institutional progress. Connecting individual goals to strategic and accreditation objectives. Let's dig deeper into how this actually works. Accreditation is, at its core, about demonstrating how the institution achieves its mission through planning, implementation, assessment, and improvement. That same structure can guide performance management. Every employee, from faculty to facilities, contributes to some part of that cycle, whether by collecting data, implementing initiatives, or assessing outcomes. When setting goals during performance reviews, we can use that same framework. Planning: what initiatives or improvements will I lead this year? Implementation: how will I carry out these goals? Assessment: how will I know if it worked? Improvement: what will I do differently next time? This language mirrors the accreditation process and reinforces institutional habits of reflection. Here are some examples of alignment between accreditation and the focus on individual goals. Assessment of learning outcomes. A faculty member revises course rubrics and documents how student learning improved. Student success and retention. An academic advisor develops and tracks outreach plans for students on probation. Operational effectiveness. A financial aid officer implements a new tracking system that reduces processing errors. Resource management. A facilities director creates energy-saving benchmarks tied to sustainability goals. Continuous improvement. A department chair leads an internal mini self-study to respond to last year's recommendations. This approach connects personal success to institutional effectiveness. It turns performance reviews from checklist conversations into mission-driven reflections. When employees see their goals tied to accreditation outcomes, they start asking better questions. How does my work contribute to our self-study? What data can I bring that shows impact? These are powerful questions, the kind that create engagement, ownership, and accountability. Performance metrics that support accreditation. Now let's talk about measurement, because both HR and accreditation live in the world of metrics. Too often, we evaluate people based on tasks completed or deadlines met. But accreditation focuses on impact. Did our actions improve learning, retention, satisfaction, or operations? By aligning metrics, we ensure that performance reviews measure not just what was done, but what difference it made. Examples of metric categories: student learning success, course completion, satisfaction improvements, advising outcomes, or contributions to student engagement or learning initiatives. Operational effectiveness measures might include timely submission of reports, data accuracy, or efficiency gains. The measurement of professional development and learning might be focused on participation in workshops related to assessment or accreditation, contribution to a culture of continuous learning, collaboration and institutional engagement, service on accreditation committees or program review teams, or assessment groups. Innovation and improvement can be measured by implementation of new practices that lead to measurable gains. These metrics don't have to feel bureaucratic. They can be framed as stories of improvement. For instance, our academic advising team reduced student withdrawal rates by 10% after implementing an early alert system. That's both a performance outcome and an accreditation win. Integrating systems. Some institutions now embed accreditation fields directly into their HR software. When a supervisor selects a goal, they can tag it with a related strategic objective or accreditation standard. That creates a living data set connecting people, performance, and institutional progress. It's clean, it's measurable, and it turns annual reviews into evidence for your next self-study. Making it work. Implementation strategies. All of this sounds great in theory, but implementation takes planning. Here are 5 practical steps that make integration sustainable. Number 1, collaborate early. Bring HR, institutional effectiveness, and academic affairs together to design shared templates. Start small. 1 division, 1 pilot cycle, or 1 shared form. When HR understands accreditation's evidence needs, and IE understands HR processes, both systems improve. Number 2, train supervisors. Most supervisors aren't accreditation experts, and that's okay. They just need a framework for connecting goals to institutional priorities. Provide quick guides or short workshops with examples like, how does this goal contribute to student learning? Which strategic pillar does this initiative support? That small shift in language aligns local actions with institutional outcomes. Number 3, simplify evidence collection. Avoid overcomplicating documentation. If an employee produces an annual summary, have them upload it directly into the accreditation evidence repository or planning system. That one document can serve both HR and accreditation needs. Number 4, reward what matters. Recognition reinforces culture. Celebrate departments and individuals who contribute to continuous improvement. You can include categories like Assessment Innovator of the Year or Excellence in Institutional Effectiveness. Number 5, use the data. This is the most overlooked step. Aggregate performance review outcomes to identify institutional strengths and gaps. If many employees note limited assessment training, that's actionable evidence for improvement. When HR and accreditation share insights, you get a complete picture. People performance meets institutional performance. Culture and leadership implications. This isn't just a system change, it's a cultural one. It requires leaders who understand that continuous improvement isn't a task list, it's a mindset. Leaders have to model alignment themselves. Their own goals should demonstrate evidence-based decision-making, transparency, and progress on institutional priorities. When leadership goals mirror accreditation language, like implementing assessment-informed decision-making or enhancing stakeholder communication, it signals to the entire institution that accreditation isn't separate from daily operations. Transparency is another key factor. Share aligned goals and outcomes across divisions so that employees can see how their efforts connect to the bigger picture. I like to think of this as creating a performance review season that doubles as a reflection season. When employees complete their evaluation, the institution simultaneously captures a snapshot of its own growth. And this is where leadership truly matters. Leaders who integrate accreditation into performance reviews are telling their teams, your work isn't just about meeting expectations, it's about advancing our mission. That simple message builds engagement, pride, and shared responsibility. Examples from the field. Let's look at how this works in practice. Example 1, the community college approach. One community college redesigned its performance review forms to align with its 5 strategic priorities. Every employee, faculty, staff, and administrators selects at least one goal that supports one of those priorities. The result? Each year's HR data feeds directly into the annual institutional effectiveness report. They no longer have to chase evidence. It's built into the process. Example 2, the private university approach. A private university restructured faculty annual reports to mirror its accreditation self-study format. Faculty submit evidence of teaching effectiveness, research, and service under headings that match the accreditation standards. When the self-study team begins writing, much of the evidence is already compiled and categorized. Example 3, the technical institute approach. At a technical institute, HR and institutional research co-author an annual performance and effectiveness report. It combines metrics from performance reviews, departmental outcomes, and student feedback. The report doesn't just evaluate people, it tells the story of institutional improvement. Each of these examples demonstrates the same principle. Integration replaces duplication. When HR, planning, and accreditation speak the same language, institutions save time, improve accuracy, and strengthen culture. Final takeaways and reflection. Let's summarize what we've explored today. Number 1, accreditation and HR share a common purpose. They both aim to clarify expectations, measure performance, and foster improvement. Number 2, integrating accreditation into performance reviews connects personal success with institutional effectiveness. Number 3, measurable, aligned metrics turn annual evaluations into evidence of mission fulfillment. Number 4, implementation takes collaboration, simplicity, and leadership. And number 5, culture changes when people see themselves as part of the accreditation story. And that's really the goal here, to make institutional effectiveness personal. When every employee can say, I know how my work contributes to our accreditation success, you've achieved something powerful. Alignment. Remember, continuous improvement doesn't happen in boardrooms or binders. It happens in daily decisions, conversations, and reflections. When performance reviews reflect that reality, they stop being an HR exercise and start being a cornerstone of your institutional story. So, as you prepare for your next performance review cycle, ask yourself, how can our process reinforce our mission? What evidence from HR can strengthen our next self-study? How can leaders model alignment in their own goals? Start small. Pilot the idea in one department or one division. You'll find that when people see accreditation as part of their growth, accountability becomes alignment, and alignment becomes culture. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Accreditation Unlocked. If you found today's discussion helpful, please subscribe, share it with a colleague, and visit accreditationcollaborative.com for resources and professional development opportunities. Until next time, I'm Dr. Ken Clough, reminding you that accreditation isn't about meeting standards. It's about building systems that help people and institutions thrive.